Welcome to week 3 of Bible Studies for Life. We're in the winter of 2024, working our way through these passages. We've been in the Advent for a couple of weeks, and now we come to the story of the birth of Christ. Luke chapter 2, one of the two places where we have the birth of Christ told, the story told. And so we're going to dive into this passage here in just a minute. Before we do that, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Hit the little subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, like the video. And if you've got a question or a comment, something you want to share, put that in the comment section below. And then also, if you want to share the video, we'd appreciate it. If you've got somebody you want to share this with, we're going to be short this week, okay? I'm just going to tell you my anticipation is we're going to be a little short this week. It won't take long to get through this passage, I don't think, because it is very familiar to us all. Okay, if you want to give to support what we're doing, give a Christmas gift to our ministry, go to give.exposedtochrist.com. Appreciate it if you'll do that. Okay, let's look at Luke chapter 2. Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family line of David, to be registered along with Mary, who was engaged to him and was pregnant. And while they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And then she gave birth to her firstborn son, and she wrapped him tightly in cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. Okay, you recognize this? It sounds familiar. Let me just say this, just in general. One of the challenges, and I think I may have said this before, one of the challenges of the Christmas story is we're all familiar with it, and we've read it all, and we know it well. And as a pastor, it was a challenge always, every year, 20 years in one church, to have a different Christmas message every year. But I will say that sometimes, and there's a place for kind of looking at all the different stories, looking at Luke and looking at Matthew and all the whole thing. But sometimes it's good to just read the passage, the one passage, and just see what it says and what it tells us. Okay, so don't feel like you've got to go talk about what happened in Matthew and Joseph's dream and vision and all that. Sometimes we can just deal with the passage where we are in Luke chapter 2, and sometimes it's good to see the simple things. Okay, again, when we're in the Christmas stories, it's always good to just look at kind of the simple things that are there that we may have forgotten or overlooked in the past. Okay, Joseph, this is them going up to Nazareth, from Nazareth to Judea to Bethlehem. So they're making this trip, right? This trip up is more uphill, I think. Not necessarily north, but uphill. Okay. And they're going there because he's of the house and the family line of David, right? It's the city of David. He's from the family line of David. This is an important thing in Luke and in Matthew, this aligning of Jesus in the line of David, right? That he's a descendant and ultimately of Abraham. And Luke goes all the way back to Adam. He is a Jew of Jews, okay? And there with Mary, who is pregnant. We don't know how pregnant she was. I mean, I guess we always kind of think that she was about to give birth as they were going, and maybe that is the case because they're not there for long. It doesn't seem they would be spending a long time there, but certainly they're there long enough for her to go ahead and give birth to her firstborn son and wraps him in cloth, lays him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for them because everybody's going to Bethlehem for the census. So there are a lot of people traveling there, and they don't get there early. They don't get their Airbnb. They're unable to make a reservation. Their internet wasn't working. They couldn't find a room anywhere. Nobody had a spare place for them. Somebody finally finds a place for them in a stable where they can stay. Maybe it's like a cave thing. There's all this speculation about what that looked like in the first century. And you see the pictures and then you see the movies and whatever. We know they're there where the animals are. Okay. And in that same region. So this is real simple, right? I mean, this story just seems real simple. This is just what happened. And it's not romantic. Sometimes I think in the movies where we get this idea this is a very romantic thing. It's not. It's dirty. It's not pleasant. It's not the way anything was supposed to be in their minds, I'm sure. when the angel appeared to Mary and told her, the angel appears to Joseph and tells him, I'm sure that when they talked about this, they had a thought about what this would all happen, even if it wasn't that, right? If it was just giving birth to a child, it wasn't what they had imagined. It doesn't always turn out the way we think it will turn out. It doesn't always start the way we think it'll start. And that's where they were. It was messy. It was uncomfortable. It was dirty. It wasn't ideal, but it was right where they needed to be. Maybe because this is the Lord's desire for there to be humility in all of this, for people to see, as the story gets told over the centuries, the humility of how Christ came. It is Philippians chapter 2, right? That he humbled himself and became a man. That this humiliation, not just humility, but humiliation for God to enter human form and then be born in a stable and laid in a manger. In the same region, shepherds were staying out in the fields and keeping watch at night over their flock. And then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, don't be afraid, for look, I proclaim to you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Okay, so here we have this appearance to the shepherds who are out in the fields, right? They're watching the flock. They've got a job to do. And that these are not the cleanest people. This is not how you think when the angel gets sent. Can you imagine? When the angel gets sent, dispatched by God to come tell people, and God says, go to those shepherds in that field over there. Tell them. It's like, seriously? Aren't there other people that ought to hear first? Shouldn't he be in the temple? Shouldn't the angel be appearing among the priests and the Pharisees? Shouldn't that be the religious leaders? Shouldn't the high priest get noticed? Shouldn't this be what happens? But that's not where the first announcement happens. The first announcement happens to the shepherds, the humble, right? Humiliation. These are the ones who come first, right? The glory of the Lord shone around them. I mean, this is humble. But when the glory of the Lord shows up, this is the show, right? I mean, this is big time, right? And they were terrified, which any one of us normal people would be, right? And the angel says, don't be afraid. Look at it almost every time. The first words of an angel when they appear to a human are, don't be afraid. Because I've got good news of great joy for all the people. Those are key words, right? Good news. This is the word gospel. All right, I've got euangelion. I've got gospel for you. And this is great joy. There is a joy for this that goes beyond anything. Remember last week we're in Isaiah chapter 9, right? And this rejoice and great joy, rejoice. Right here is the great joy has shown up. Here's the light has shone in the darkness. Literally, they're in the darkness. They're out at night. And then the light shows up, right? And great joy for them. And who is it for? For all the people. In the first announcement of the birth, there is a universal effect of this. This is not just for the nation of Israel. This is for all the people. Today, in the city of David, a Savior was born for you, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be the sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped tightly in cloth and lying in a manger. This is just, okay, we know this, right? Maybe you've memorized this. You haven't memorized it, but you know it, right? But I want you to see the phrases in here that are so important. We'll try to be quick with this. Look, I'm not going to be fast because it is what it is, right? It happened today. Today this happened, right? In the city of David, Bethlehem, a Savior was born for you. For you. He announces to them, a Savior was born for you. You hear that? Could we hear that message for us today? That a Savior was born for me? A Savior was born for you? He is the Messiah, right? The Lord. There is no mistaking here in the announcement that comes from the angels that the Messiah is God. He is the Lord. He is the anointed one. He is the Christ. That's the other word for Messiah, Christ, the Lord, right? And this will be the sign for you. You'll find a baby wrapped tightly in cloth, lying in a manger. That's why this is so simple, right? Wrapped him tightly in cloth and laid him in a manger. And the angel says, you want to know how you'll know? Because you'll find him lying in a manger, wrapped up tightly in cloth. Not this is not what anybody thought it would be, right? It's not how Joseph and Mary, I'm sure, imagined this to happen. But it's also not who we thought the announcement would go to. And then it's also not how the shepherds thought it would happen and where they would find, go to the temple, something like that. No, it's go to the palace. No, you'll find a baby wrapped in cloth, laying in a manger where the cows eat. That's where you'll find the Savior, the Messiah, the Lord. It's a good story, isn't it? Good news, great joy for all the people. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope that's helped. I hope you have a great Christmas. We're coming up on it, right? And we'll have another. I'll be here before Christmas. Some of you will have Sunday school, small groups on that Sunday. Some of you don't. I know that's kind of how church goes, but maybe the videos helped even if you don't have anything to teach this week. God bless you. Have a great week. Have a great Christmas. We'll see you next.